Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Hefner, and I'm the campus counselor at West Campus.
And I'm Stacy Campbell, the counselor at East Campus. Today, our Career Talk Tuesday is with Kelly Piccioni, who is our horticulture instructor. And I'm super excited, a little nervous because we only have 15 minutes. And there are so many areas in horticulture that we could talk about, and Mrs. Piccioni herself has such a wide background of experience. This is hard. So I am just going to ask you to tell us about your career path. I know that you went to Schuylkill Valley High School.
And
then you went to Delaware Valley.
Yeah, Delaware Valley. But now it is Delaware Valley University. But those that go there affectionately just call it Del Val. So it's still that. And I majored in ornamental horticulture there and minored in business. So.
And that's because of your family background, yes? Mm-hmm. The partnership of the two. Can you talk briefly about that?
Yeah, so actually my grandparents, well, actually I'm going to take it back a step farther. My great-grandfather would buy Christmas trees off of the orange car in Reading, and he would sell them. And that's how he would have a Christmas. It's the only way that they could afford a Christmas for my grandmother and my great aunt. It was only the two of them. And they just, my grandmother loved that so much, and they did that forever. So when my grandfather got back from serving in World War II, they immediately kind of like bought land and started growing, after the kids were a little bit older, and they started growing Christmas trees, and they kind of cut and sold anything that they could off of the land to get started for some income. And they were a true entrepreneurial family and just did whatever they could. My dad's one of five, and he was the only one of the five to continue with the tree business. And then I'm one of three. I was then the one that kind of continued on with that. So yeah, we've got a couple generations of growing and selling things.
So I have to ask, because you are somebody, like, all of our instructors work hard, no doubt about it. And many have side businesses.
Yeah.
But you have always impressed me, because like from the day you stepped in here, which was 9 years ago now, I think.
Yeah, 9 years.
9 years, because you came the year after me. You had just had a baby. You were still working at the Geisler.
Like, literally just had a baby.
Yes, just had a baby. So brand new infant, brand new job. This is not the easiest job to figure out, right? Mm-hmm. So you walk into this, you've never been an educator before, and you've got to figure out how to be a teacher, and you're still working at Geisler Tree Farm.
I wasn't working at the tree farm. I was on maternity leave at the time, but I was still had wedding clients and that sort of thing. Yeah.
So a side hustle. You had another gig going.
That going. Mm-hmm. Yep.
How many hours a week do you estimate you work?
90.
And you have forever.
Yeah, it's really the only thing I've ever known. I do much better when I'm busy. Spare time is not really a good thing for me. I just really, my soul needs to be just constantly fed with things to like feel achieved. Like, to me, the most difficult part of this teaching job for me on a personal level is there's nothing concrete that you see at the end of every day. And that is something that has always driven me. That progress. And as a teacher, it's, when you see, especially when you get those ninth graders and then they graduate and you look back, I'm a picture taker. So I have a ton of like these pictures, and seeing these students when they graduate, like, it's just, it's kind of like when you plant a seed in the ground and so you get it till it does something. It's not instant. So for me, I kind of like some of that instant gratification a little bit too. Like, I like to look back at the end of the day and see like an entire greenhouse planted, or like,
And I'm sure our students can relate to that fully. Like, I'm glad that you shared that, because that's something, like, when you're doing assignments and stuff, you don't really necessarily right in that moment see, like, maybe you'll get a grade, but you don't really see that progress of what you learned until you're out in the world and you're using those skills, and you're like, wait a second, I do know this stuff. I did learn it along the way as I was growing and learning, but right in the moment, it's really kind of difficult to see that light. So
Yeah.
that must be really helpful for even for you to say, for your students to hear that, because that's a part of, yeah, like we get it too, you know?
And that's, so I say to them, like, do checklists, because even if it's not something concrete that you can hold, it's at least something that you can check off, like go through your assignments and then you can look back and say, okay, this is what I did today.
Right, right. Yeah, really neat. I mean, I have a question for you. Like, so it sounds like that you went to school, and then did you do anything in high school related to this field, or you ended up going to college for it?
I was that kid that I always worked at the tree farm. Like if I wasn't playing sports, I was working. So like my spring breaks or before sports practices or anything else, like we were watering, like we were watering the plants. We had to like take the deer guards off, put soap on the trees. Like we didn't have, like we were a working family. It's what we did. I mean, it's a traditional farm family in a sense. When I was in college, I did work for another landscaper. I always think it's great when other families, like family business, instead of only working in that family business, it was really important that we got experience in other places to see how other people do things and, you know, bring back and, you know, that sort of thing. So
and you mentioned that before. I mean, when you talk about being in the field, I have had the sense that it's a tight community.
Very much.
Each other, they help each other.
Mm-hmm.
Is that unique to your field? Is it like, actually, what am I trying to ask? Is that national? Is it everywhere? Or is it really like Berks County?
I do think that is a national thing. The farm industry in general, I think, is that way, which, you know, when you talk agronomic crops, if you think back to the shutdown last year and the big giant egg distribution that happened at the Kempton Fairgrounds, I know both of those families well. You know, farm communities tend to really stay together. I mean, farmers can't necessarily just go on vacation when you've got like a couple hundred head of dairy that needs to be milked and sort of thing. So there's always been that natural support system of helping one another. For my industry, we call ourselves the green industry when you're talking with plants and that sort of thing. Landscapers, nurserymen. I mean, I kind of joked with an employer the other day who happens to be a long-term family friend of ours, and he's like, "Hey kid, you got any kids for me?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to be 40 in a couple of years. Like, I wonder when I'm not anymore." But you know, I love it. Like, I kind of love being called kid by all of these people that I've looked up to in the industry for so long. You know, and then I find myself like, "Oh, I got a really great kid for you," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, now I'm like that one."
Yeah, you're the one.
Yeah. So, and like floral wise, I mean, we've kind of all been blessed with this opportunity to be really community over competition. My biggest competitor for my floral business, our backyards actually touch. Like we are consistently fighting for the same community, like the same business. We have a very similar style. Like she grows a lot more than I do. I buy from her, that sort of thing. But we help each other all the time. We freelance. We're constantly pushing each other to do more. And I think when an industry can adopt that mindset of community over competition, the industry as a whole performs better. I think you can get a better price for the product. I think that you can really showcase and educate your clientele a lot better. And it's also nice having those friends in the industry who truly have that same experience as you. You know, especially in our industry, it is seasonal, it is holidays, it is weekends. And, you know, I'm sure something like the nursing community has that, you know, it's kind of who you're in the trenches with together. And I always found that here at BCTC, I think that you kind of are creating that little microclimate of networking right away here because you're truly bringing the whole community in. So when else would these kids have met each other? You know, it probably would have been competition first. And now it's like they can get out into the field to be like, hey, I know someone who can help with this, or I've got the perfect person that I can team up with and do this project with. And I think that's one of the most unique parts of BCTC that these kids immediately get to have that network.
Right. I do have another like kind of career path question for you, which is if you kind of were ingrained in it ever since you were really young, it sounds like, with a family business, because sometimes some students are in family business, but they're trying to decide, is this really my passion, or is this something because I'm a family member and a part of this group that's what I'm doing and that's my job?
Yeah.
But was there a point, was there a time that you're like, you know what, actually, this is a passion of mine and not just I'm being told this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
There really was. I think it kind of came in like 9th or 10th grade for me that I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I was really close with my grandmother, and at Christmas time, on Christmas Eve, my dad would let us work the tree stand by ourselves, and whatever we sold, there was like maybe 10, 15 trees left. Whatever we sold, we got to keep that money. He usually figured 20, 40 bucks.
Right.
Let me tell you, I was like, I made like $800 that day. And like, yeah, that's not going to happen. You're not getting this money. What you are going to do is you're going to buy some plants and you're going to repot them and regrow them, and then you're going to sell them and turn that $800 into whatever you can. So I think I got like 20 bucks, so I was happy with that. But I immediately then, like, that spring came, I had that money, my little baby plants came, and my grandmother and I potted them up. And like, it just clicked in my head about, this is really something I like doing. I like the fact that this is, you know, I'm doing something with my hands. I'm seeing something. It's like money and, make more money and not like be suffering. And I get to do a job that I like and not going to a job that I hate. And that was really like all of their hard work and their sacrifices and all of that. I just didn't want it to end because it was only my dad. And then I have my sisters. My sisters both did not like it at all. At all. So I'm thinking, okay, is this really going to end? And I didn't want it to because I liked it. So, you know, I think at some point you have to make that decision of, I'm going to spend a lot of time doing this. Is this something that I really enjoy doing? I think that's really important for everybody to try to figure out.
Yeah.
So your work ethic, does everybody need a work ethic like yours to be successful in your area?
I think success is always defined by the person. My definition of success is being the best version of myself, pushing the limits and seeing what I can do next. And it's more, I put a lot of pressure on myself for that success. And my success is not always monetarily defined. It's my soul needs to be fulfilled. Like, I am one of those people that I just really need to feel good about what I did at the end of the day. I always played sports. I think that has become my like adrenaline rush now, because I think that student athletes have that trouble too when you leave, and it's like you train and you train and you train, and sometimes those losses are just as painful but propel you forward to do something better. So I think that more of my sports mindset drives my ambition and work ethic and knowing. And I really am one of those people who I like to work and earn what I have. And so for success, that's what's important to me. There's a lot of opportunities out there in so many different avenues that people can be successful working as much or as little as they want. It's just how they're going to define their success.
And I know your field is quite broad. So what would you say a typical employer is looking for from the horticulture type area? Like, what would they be looking for if a student's looking to apply to a job, let's say?
So first, you really do have to like to get dirty, and you really should like plants, or things like being inspired by the naturalistic world and watching things grow. And you know, I think that the best employees kind of have that little bit of passion. Plant people are kind of their own little breed. I mean, we really are passionate about this thing. you know, it's just more fun to work around people like that when you really truly get to do that. So working hard, working independent, being able to make those decisions, not being told what to do all the time, because many green industry businesses, they are kind of small in our area. So when you're told something, it's kind of like, all right, go do it. And when I come back, I expect it done.
And you work alone a lot, right? Like, I'm thinking, like, there are times when I see students who I'm imagining that mimics what they'd be doing in the field, that they're working together, but it seems like a lot of the work is you are on your own. You're working somewhere, doing something.
Yeah. And just having that confidence that you know what you're doing, you know, and not standing there and second guessing yourself and having to be told every single step to do. And I think that it's really important too, to always be busy and not be standing. If someone gave me the best advice ever, if you are done with your job, there is always a broom. Like, always do something. Like, never just be standing. If someone comes in and finds you just hanging out on your phone, it's going to be a problem.
Right.
If you're a small business owner, well, yeah, and if you're a small business owner, like, your time is so precious. I would imagine, like, and your resources are so limited. Why are you going to keep an employee on unless you can get everything you possibly can out of that employee?
I mean, and I had this struggle in my side business of finding people, and it's like, if I have to keep telling you how to do this or redo something, I'm just going to do it myself. Because now I'm losing money. It's not like, you're not helping me grow my business so I can give you even more hours. So I think that that's something too that students need to understand, that when you go to work for a company, you're working for the company. The company is not always just there for you. The better job you do, the bigger, better your company can get, which in turn can give you even more. So I think that that rationale and thought process is a little skewed these days. Right. I think I tend to have a little bit more of an older mindset of kids these days.
Now you're sounding crotchety. Come on.
Well, we're gonna pause at that point and say final words of wisdom for a student, you know, let's say graduating from your program, going out, or maybe just words of wisdom that you learned. Like, I love the pick up a broom. There's always a broom to use. So any final words or thoughts?
I think just find what you love and do what you love, even if it's not in this industry. I just really think it's important for people to find what they love and make that career out of it, for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mrs. Piccioni, and thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed our Career Talk Tuesday. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.